Greetings, family, friends, staff, administration, and, well, anyone else who decides to show up to the West Orange High School Class of 2013 graduation. Never in my life have I received such a prestigious and extraordinary award that requires me to write an extremely long homework assignment and then proceed to perform this homework assignment in front of a crowd of well over 3,000 people. But when I actually sat down and thought about it, I began to realize what a truly remarkable experience this actually is. I mean, when else in my life will I have the opportunity to stand up here in front of this many people and say literally whatever I want? With this realization, however, came further dilemma. As I contemplated all the possible topics I could talk about, one minor detail came to mind. I'm only 17 years old. I technically haven't graduated high school yet, and I'm not even considered an adult. What grand realization or universal truth could I possibly express if I hadn't even experienced doing my own laundry on a daily basis? This proved to be very troublesome, as you imagine. So troublesome, in fact, that towards the end of the school year, Mr. Olgianetto called me down to his office to talk about the speech that I hadn't yet prepared. As I was sitting down with him, discussing what my speech would be about, one thing kept popping up in my mind. Mr. Ed, I thought you retired. Why are you still here? But even though I do not possess the life-creating insights of a wise elder, I do believe I possess a couple of pretty phenomenal experiences that really shaped the way I live my life today. And I would like to share these experiences with you. The first began probably about 2 years from this very day. I was preparing for a 6.5-week trip to Israel, where I'll learn the land's language and some of its culture. As part of the mandatory baggage, I needed to get a pocket-sized Tanakh. A Tanakh is basically all the important Jewish scriptures bundled up in one book, and this one had to be pocket-sized. So as I searched Google for the nearest place that could hold this item, I found a store at Pleasant Valley Way in West Orange called Judaica. I walked into the store, proceeded to buy this pocket-sized Tanakh, and I began to get into a small conversation with the man behind the counter. He told me that he was going to Israel as well, but our time there would only overlap a couple days. I jokingly said, "See you later." He responded with a smile and said, "It's a small world. You never know." I laughed. He laughed as well, and then I proceeded to exit the store. About 4 weeks later, I was in the Jewish quarter of Israel, in Jerusalem. I was completely lost. I lost my tour group, and I was stranded at some shop with friends. All I remember was in about 30 minutes, I greeted a store called Aroma. This is like the Israeli version of Starbucks. And as I desperately searched for someone to give me directions, I found a man that looked a little bit taller than me. I said, "Can you tell me where the nearest cafe in Roma is? I'm a little bit lost." And he looked at me and said something. And the reason it's something is because I was completely in awe. This was the same man that was in the store in Judaica that sold me that pocket-sized Tanakh. Eager to get on my way, he led me to the nearest aroma. And as I was walking away, I began to realize how truly extraordinary it was that I ran into this man. This seemingly random stranger halfway across the world traveled 5,703 miles on a 13-hour plane ride on different days, and then subsequently happened to walk next to me while I was desperately trying to find directions. It really is a small world, I thought to myself. The second experience occurred about 1 year after that, except this time I was 6,840 miles away, where all of us are sitting right now, and I was in Shanghai, China. I was finishing up a Chinese immersion experience with some of my fellow classmates sitting right here in this very room. We were ready to leave. This is our last day in China. and we were all boarding the bus, ready to go to the Shanghai airport. About 20 minutes into the ride, we got on the highway. I looked out the window to my right, and there was a man right in the lane parallel to us. He was dressed in red, from head to toe, and he was looking at me. As any polite person would do, I waved back, and he nodded and smiled, and then proceeded to get off at the next exit. About an hour later or so, we stopped at a local mall, and everyone went to the bathroom, got some food, and spent the rest of the money their parents gave them before we got back to the United States. And as we got back on the road, I fell asleep, and sometime later I woke up. With eyes half open, I saw something weird out the window to my right. I blinked a couple times and fully regained my consciousness, and there was that same man, dressed in all red from head to toe. Except this time, he was waving at me. I waved back at him, smiled, and then we proceeded to get off at the next exit. It really is a small world, I thought. But so what? We might coincidentally run into the same people a couple of times in our lives. But I know some of you are thinking, does it really matter? My answer to that question is absolutely yes. If I coincidentally run into the same man that sold me a poppy-sized tomato, almost 6,000 miles away, what's to say that I won't run into him again in West Orange or somewhere else in the United States or different places? On a crowded Chinese highway in Shanghai, I had managed to reunite with a man in all red. Doesn't it seem feasible that a similar re-encounter could happen in the United States with a different person? Some may say that we all reunite in the afterlife. I'm not here to preach religion, nor am I very religious, but I do believe that we all reunite with most of the people in our past, whether we know it or not. Now, these reunions could be as trivial as small talk in line at Dunkin' Donuts, or seeing each other in a crowded New York subway, but they also could be very, very significant. The person sitting next to you while boarding a flight could end up being your boss in the future. The student sitting right beside you, that you might not have ever said a word to throughout your whole high school career, could end up being an opportunity or a position to offer you his or her home in a time of natural disaster or other need. That older guy playing basketball with you at O'Connor Park, that you probably don't say a word with, could end up being the next president of our country. And wouldn't you be mad that you didn't establish a meaningful connection with him before he became president? I know I would. I believe that we all should take advantage of these high chance encounters. When you meet someone new, be approachable and friendly. Next time you happen to be sitting next to some random stranger at an event, just imagine the greatest thing this person could do, and all the possible ways he or she can magnify your life. Instead of playing a game of odds, try and make the most of every encounter. Don't pass up an opportunity to meet someone thinking that you'll never meet this person again, or with the mindset that this person's life is insignificant to yours. Because one day, it might turn out to be very significant. And that same person who chose not to interact with or not to talk to could end up playing a very important role in your future. Class of 2013, establish good relationships. Be open-minded. And above all, don't be afraid to talk to strangers. After all, once you know them, they aren't really strangers anymore, are they? Class of 2015, I wish you the best of luck. And remember, the world is much smaller than you think. Thank you.